Today we're looking at an Elna Air Electronic SU. The problem with this machine is it's not winding a bobbin. So we've got the bobbin threaded here, ready to wind, and if we engage the bobbin winder like so and drop the speed down a little bit to the bobbin winding position, you can see the bobbin winding position here is there's a little bobbin icon here. It's down here on the speed control. That just lowers the speed to a more appropriate speed for winding bobbins. So let's have a wee look here. I'm going to put my foot down. Got nothing there. I've disengaged the clutch here also. Now there's a few reasons why a bobbin may not wind. One is that the motor is not driving the machine, so it's not driving the mechanism that drives the bobbin winder. So that could be a belt issue, that could be a motor issue, there could be several things wrong there, but in this case it's not anything to do with the drive or the motor, because if I put a little bit of load on this hand wheel, I don't want to do that too much, I don't want to overload the motor, but just for a short time put my foot down and hold on the hand wheel there. I can feel that there's plenty of power there of the motor, and because the hand wheel in this machine drives the bobbin, well then we know if the hand wheel's got plenty of power being delivered to it, that it's not the hand wheel or the motor or the drive that's causing the problem. So all machines are very different. This is generally how the older Elnas work. So the other thing to check also is that the bobbin shaft is not seized up. So if we disengage the bobbin winder here and pull the bobbin off, sometimes what can happen is the actual shaft itself can seize up, but I can turn that. It's not loose to turn. That's only because the shaft is actually rubbing on the top of the side of this little cutout on the top of the case here. So if that was seized up, that would be very hard to turn, but that's taking a little bit of effort to turn. If I put it in between positions there where it's not scraping against the side here and it's not engaged on the actual back of the hand wheel here, if I put it in between there, I can turn that quite easily. So that's a good test to see whether the shaft's seized or not, and in this case it's not seized. That's engaged there at the moment. You can see that it's trying to spin. Sometimes it tries to, can't quite grip. So generally that points to a problem with the little rubber ring on the bottom of the bobbin winder. So I'll go ahead and show you how to get the lid off. I've shown this procedure in other videos, but it's not a long procedure, so it doesn't take long to show you how to do this. So first of all, we'll undo these two screws here, flat-headed screwdriver, one screw there, another screw there, and we'll remove those in the meantime. And sometimes it's easier to pull up the thread spool stands there. We'll disengage the bobbin winder there as well. You may want to put that spool pin down because that stops the handle from coming back up. But if we're lucky, we may be able to get into this and repair this without actually taking the handle off, because you can't take the lid off these without taking the handle off. It's not overly hard to take the handle off. It is just a matter of undoing a circlip on one of these. Normally it's on the left end here. Normally there's a circlip on the left here, but on this machine it's on the right. Or can we? Or is the circlip missing? I'm just going to pull this spool pin here up, the left hand one. Just pull that up there, and yeah, the circlip's actually missing on this one, so normally you would have to unclip a circlip here, but we don't have to today. But let's just make out there's a circlip there, and we're not going to remove the handle or the lid as such. We can get into here enough, I think, to repair the bobbin winder. So in here is the underneath of the bobbin winder. This is what's on the bottom of the shaft. If I turn the shaft there, you can see that this here is turning. So normally you'd expect to see a rubber ring around here, and I think what's happened is the rubber ring has deteriorated, worn, cracked, and just fallen off. So I'm guessing I'll probably find it down in the guts of the machine there when I service this. But quite often what can happen is the ring will stay on, so you'll see a ring here, a little black rubber ring, and although it's there, quite often it can be quite worn to the point where it causes the issue that we're seeing. So if there was a rubber ring here, it's a matter of removing it. I'll show you how to do that. If it's missing like this one, it's a matter of getting a replacement rubber ring and fitting a new one. So let's go ahead and fit a new ring. I'm going to try and do this without removing the lid. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit more awkward not taking the handle off and the lid completely off, but if you don't want to go through the trouble of removing the handle, you can probably get away with doing this. In here, just fit it while it's in situ there. So it's just a matter of getting the replacement rubber ring and putting it over the little pulley there, and it just sits on like that. Now, to remove the ring, if you've got one that's worn, you literally just pull it off. So we're just looking side on. It's really just a matter of pushing the ring off. You generally get it off with your fingers. The old one, you may want a screwdriver just to help gently lever that off. Just flip the ring off, the old one, just like that, and then your new one slips back on again, as I showed before. One thing to remember though is if you're working here, you might have slightly oily hands. There might be oil down on the machine parts that you get on your hands, and you want to just make sure you clean that rubber ring before you go assembling the machine. I'm just using an old piece of cotton sheeting there, and if we take a look down in this area here, that's the back of the hand wheel there. We'll get a closer look at that. That may have been contaminated by oil as well, so that can also cause this problem. So that's one thing to check even before you change the bobbin winder rubber, is to make sure that the bobbin winder rubber is clean and the back of the hand wheel is clean. So just get a rag and hold the rag onto the back of the hand wheel there, onto this flat surface, and you'll see there where it's clean there, and it's still dirty where I haven't cleaned it there. So just go ahead and run that hand wheel right around. That, still a little bit of gunk there, maybe give it a good hard clean there, good rub there. So even just scrape off with your fingernail any sort of remnants of rubber or dirt there. Just give that a good clean. I don't really think you need to use any cleaning products. You may do, but just something that's not harsh would be good. That's looking pretty clean there now. So then it's just a matter of putting the lid back on, and if you have taken the whole lid off along with the handle here, the separate handle, just go ahead and put the handle back down into the slots on the top there. this end here has a little cutout. You can see it's got a small raised piece here, whereas the other end doesn't. That is the right hand end. So just make sure, you know, when you put this back together that you don't have it around like that. Make sure that's at the right hand end, 2 holes, hole on each end of the handle. They just both line up and slide onto 2 pins on the machine itself, and then if you've got the circlip you would go ahead and install the circlip on this end. I'll find one for this machine and install one. But then, so circlip on, and then just make sure the bobbin winder is disengaged before you put the lid back on. Just set the lid back down, and you might have to push down the left hand spool pin to allow the handle to come back down. Install the screws, just 2 screws. Just do those up like that. And now we're ready to try this out. We can actually try it before we go ahead and thread the bobbin winder. So let's just engage this and see how we go there. Looking good. So that's got plenty of driving force. I'm just slightly holding back on the bobbin there. It's not slipping. It's perfect. So I'll go ahead and wind a bobbin here. Just come around through the tensioner over here on the left, on the top, on the lid there. Wind the bobbin thread clockwise several times around. Engage. This is rattling around a little bit just because of the speed of the bobbin winder. I mean, you could drop the speed down. It's still going to do it. What you can do is you can put your finger on there to stop it from rattling. Now that's starting to get full there now. You don't want to hold too tight here though. So that can cause the bobbin thread to stretch while it's winding, and you don't want that, so don't hold too hard on here. I'm just stabilizing it really with my finger very lightly. Okay, that's full there now, so the bobbin winder needs to be disengaged and the bobbin thread removed. And there we go, full bobbin. Well, nearly full. I mean, a little bit more thread could go on there. That's a matter of adjusting this stopper here. I won't cover that in this video, but I may do a video on how to adjust this stopper here to get your bobbin at the right fill level. So I hope you found that helpful, and I'd like to thank again my patrons on Patreon for helping support the channel, and my YouTube subscribers, and for all of you out there watching, thank you very much for watching.